Good morning. This is part 2 of my reporting, coverage, babbling about the trial out of San Diego. This is the murder trial of Larry Millete. Anyway, Larry's accused of killing his wife, Maya. Maya is still missing. She went missing in January of 2021. Her body has never been recovered. Larry has maintained that she just vanished. She didn't want to live this life anymore. She just took off. No sign of her since January 7th of 2021. Okay. A couple of things before I get into yesterday. So yesterday they did all the opening statements. So it was both the prosecution and the defense laid out what they plan to cover in court. And then we had one witness. Before I get to all that, and this is going to be a two-parter today, so I hope you've got your coffee and you're buckled in. But here's what's going on. I have a correction from yesterday. I said that when Maya vanished, left behind at the house with her keys, her purse, her car, like everything she owned, I said the phone, but that is not true. It doesn't sound like the phone was ever found. But everything else, her car's out in the street, her car keys, her purse, her credit cards, everything are in the home. Okay, that's all left behind. There's one more thing that you need to know before I get into this. Maya also went by May. So she's Maya or May, depending on who's doing the talking. So there are some quotes where people will refer to her as Maya, and there's people who refer to her as May. Same person, just so you know. Before I go into yesterday's coverage, what I want to do is tell you about the work that both Larry and Maya did, because that is going to play a crucial part, especially Maya's job, okay? So Larry, and I'm always reading from notes, okay? Larry served in the Navy from 2000 to 2005. He has no combat experience. He actually worked as the optician at the Naval Medical Center. So that is his naval experience. Okay. Now, Maya, and I have two descriptions of her work. Maya worked as a civilian contract specialist for the U.S. Navy. Remember, they live in San Diego. But there's also another way it was worded on a different website. This one said she worked for the U.S. Department of Defense as an administrative specialist at Naval Information Warfare Center of the Pacific. Both ways, I think she's some sort of specialist. There you go. But she's a civilian, so she's not in the Navy. But since she works at the Naval Center, there is a chain of command. She probably reports to somebody that is in the Navy that has a line of command. Now, before you ask, this one is not televised. So this requires going to multiple different websites or news station blogs to kind of find out what's going on, because there's a lot of reporters in the room. I'm mostly relying on News 7 San Diego, which I believe is their NBC affiliate, but ABC, CBS, both doing great work here too. So, most of them have an online version where they're printing basic stuff every day after the trial, and then you can go and read it. So that's where a lot of this information comes from. And then I pour a cup of coffee and I just paraphrase it for you. So here we go. The prosecutors in this case are Deputy District Attorney Christy Bowles, and sitting shotgun is James Rhodes. So you got Bowles and Rhodes on one side. The other side, Larry's defense attorneys are Leanne Sabatini and Colby Ryan. Sabatini, Ryan, that's the team on the opposite side. Now, I do not know. I will do a little bit more research. I don't know if those are public defenders or if Larry's paying for them. I do not know at this point. Okay. So Bowles makes her opening statement. And this is like 4 pages of notes, so bear with me. It is going to go to a second video because there's a lot of good stuff to cover. When Bowles gets up to do her opening statement, here's the upfront hot points. She says Maya had big plans. She had planned to take the kids to Big Bear on January 9th, which was one of their daughter's birthdays, and she did plan to divorce her husband. Bowles described their relationship as unhealthy and toxic, and she tells the jury, right to the point, she says Larry would never have allowed a divorce. It was not an option for Larry. Larry loaded her body into his SUV. He drove to a remote location and he dumped her body, and it's never been found. That is the gist of what they're about to present. She goes on to say that Maya's sister-in-law. So at one point, Maya told her sister-in-law, is a woman named Genesis, told Genesis that divorce is going to be messy. If something happens, it's Larry. That's a direct quote from Genesis. Now, Maya had contacted a divorce lawyer, and she had also sent many messages to Larry. And here's some examples. 1, I should have left a long time ago. 2, I can't keep living like this. 3, I want out. 4, I can't trust you. So Larry knew she wanted a divorce. It was pretty clear. She had also contacted a family law firm and made an appointment for January 12th to go see their attorney. And the first person to testify was the person who took that call when Maya made the appointment. I'm hoping to get through a lot of this, but it is going to go to second, maybe even third video. I talk a lot. Okay, so Bowles takes us back to May of 2020, right? Maya had all but moved out, right? She was staying with her brother JR and his wife Genesis. And then this is where the behavior starts. Larry began tracking her movements. They found on his phone that he had a detailed Google calendar with entries of her whereabouts every day. So he was stalking her and keeping diary entries of where she was, when, who she was talking to, what she was doing. The prosecutor said that Larry was trying to influence JR and Genesis to be on his side, that he was the good guy. And then he once emailed Genesis, and again, this is an exact quote, "Our marriage is on its last legs. I'm scared she's actually going to leave me this time." You know what? Man up, Larry. Divorce happens all the time. But anyway, by August, Maya goes back home because Maya's like, you know what? I refuse to leave my home. I refuse to leave my kids. I'm not running away. I'm going back into the home. And there's a little bit of mention. This is probably going to come out in trial, but they were living in separate bedrooms. And I guess at one point, Larry was trying to physically, like with a drill, trying to get into Maya's locked bedroom. It's in August that Larry first goes online looking for spell casting services. I mentioned this yesterday. Let me at least get through the first one. So on November 13th, Larry requests a spell to banish Jamie Laird forever. Jamie Laird is the man that Maya is said to have been having an affair with. He's a co-worker, he's married, and his wife is pregnant. So that's all very important. But Larry wants Jamie Laird banished forever. Then there's a couple other things he says. Can you please recast this spell? Because he actually believes they did it. And recast it with a boost. Make it stronger because he's still here. And then what's interesting is in all of these exchanges with the spellcasters, he is giving tidbits, like giving extra information about the why and the what and what's going on in his life. I think he's trying to convince the spellcasters, like, here's why I desperately need this spell and you've got to help me out. So he goes on to tell the spellcaster that Jamie impregnated my wife, that he cheated on his pregnant wife, who was 3 months pregnant at the time. He asks them to please punish the unborn child. And he says, can you give someone cancer? I hate to do this, but this is going to a second video. Please come back. I'll make another one right away.